Yeah.
So, Steve, thank you so much for joining us today. We are thrilled to have the opportunity to speak with you and talk about the National Australia Bank.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, could you share with us the changing role of technology at the bank and your new role there?
Sure. So the whole industry's changing. The way large enterprises consume IT is changing, and cloud's at the forefront of that. It's really impacting how we think about buying our IT, about how we think about operating our IT, and how we think about enabling our customers to work with us in a seamless way.
And what do you think your business partners see in that, the change that cloud is having to their operations? What do you think is most impactful to your business teams?
Well, most impactful is the fact that we can not worry about the undifferentiated heavy lifting. We can focus on things that matter to our customers. And it's pretty obvious, and it's something that's talked about a lot with cloud, but the fact that we can just look at how can we improve an end customer's life rather than how to manage a Windows server is really fundamental to what's happening right now.
And can you say something about the economics? Is that a discussion? Being a bank, I would think that the economics matter a lot to a bank.
Of course, right? It's all about the bottom line,
Right.
And that's the industry we're in. But the economics come in two ways. Number one, cloud is just cheaper off the bat, right? But that's probably a 10 to 20% saving. The real savings come in agility. The real savings come in the fact that we don't spend months or years developing new platforms that sometimes fail and don't work. The fact that now we can come up with experiments that last a few days or a few weeks, and if we fail, we throw that out and start again, enables us just to move at a completely different pace and deliver so much more to our customers.
So, experimentation in a bank, right? What does that look like? What does that innovation cycle look like?
I'll give you a great example. A few weeks ago, we came up with an idea for a facial recognition ATM.
Oh.
Because it was cloud-based, the whole recognition product from AWS, we're able to use that, and we were able to quickly come up with a prototype. We actually made an ATM out of polystyrene. We put a set of electronics on the front of it, and we're able to use a cloud service to recognize somebody's face and come up with a solution that enables somebody to come up and take money out of an ATM without a card. You just come up, you look at the thing, you put in your PIN, and it gives you money, right? And that is a much more secure way of getting your money out of an ATM than using a plastic card. For a start, there's no card skimming possible. The actual face that you have is far more complicated and harder to copy than a plastic card is. And it also is a better user experience. You don't have to carry around a wallet to get cash.
Now, do you find, are there blockers in your organization that aren't quite ready for these technology leaps, or do you feel like the leadership is on board and ready to make these pretty dramatic changes for a bank?
Yeah. So interestingly, the leadership is fine. The leadership is ready to go. But in a bank, you still have to deal with government regulators, prudential regulators that are very, very concerned about doing anything new and the risks. We have governance teams, we have risk teams, we have a whole lot of these things to overcome. So it's how we face into these different teams and make them comfortable that really enables us to move forward.
So, Steve, can you tell me a little bit about how you've dealt with the organizational change that cloud brings?
It's a big issue to deal with, right?
Yes.
We're a 150-year-old organization. So to bring something like cloud is very confronting across a whole range of different people across the organization. Everything from our end customers to our bankers in the field that are manning our branches, to the people in our head office that are all trying to deal with the amount of change that's going on. And getting them all on board is super hard and super important. Right?
Exactly.
So we've put a large change program in place. We've actually taken our entire board and flown them to Silicon Valley and Seattle to meet with the AWS teams there and a bunch of other technology teams.
And was that
across.
helpful to
That was incredibly helpful, just to get the board done, right? Then we did our executive leadership team, and we did the same trip for them to get them talking about it at every level.
Yep.
We then pushed that right out through the organisation to know that this was both a top-down and a bottom-up, because as we were training all of the people that we needed to train, they were starting to talk about the advantages of cloud. We then had our senior leadership that were talking about what they'd seen and what was possible using the cloud, and we were able to sandwich that right throughout the organisation to really let everyone know that this was where we're going and they should be on the bus.
I love that top-down and bottoms-up approach. I think that's exactly the way you have to address an organizational change.
Yeah, it's not easy to take such a conservative organisation and push them into such a confronting new technology.
Absolutely. Now, so facial recognition, very cool technology. Data, though, especially, again, in a bank, has to be a big driver. Are there AI and ML examples that you're using data to really change the customer experience as well?
Just being able to understand a customer's habits is a great machine learning thing. So
Yep.
credit card applications where you're understanding what somebody is likely to spend money on and be able to flag things that they're not likely to spend money on. Great machine
From a
learning.
fraud standpoint?
From a fraud standpoint. We have a whole department on financial crime that uses machine learning to understand where we might have a problem and where we might not have a problem. And being able to dig into that is saving us a lot of money in time and effort looking for false positives.
Wow, that's fascinating. And so is education in these fields something that you're starting to do with the broader team to understand, okay, here's our approach to fraud prevention? Is that...
I'm glad you asked the question. So we've actually created a cloud guild in National Australia Bank.
Oh, okay.
We are now the most highly trained customer of AWS across the whole of Asia.
Wow.
We've trained 3,000 of our staff. We have 300 people that are now accredited in AWS across the bank.
Wow.
So yes, it's something we take extremely seriously and have invested in.
Well, Steve, thank you for your time today. What great examples and experiences that you've had in your time at the National Australia Bank.
No problem.